Are you ready to take your message, your business, and your life to the next level?
Want to learn from someone with more than a decade of experience, training tens of thousands of people from all around the world?
Hi, Cliff. This is Pauline from Auckland, New Zealand.
John from Calgary, Alberta.
Amy Porterfield.
Michael Hyatt.
Dan here from Dunedin, New Zealand.
Ray Edwards. Mark Mason.
Mike Stelzner.
Pat from Smart Passive Income.
It's Darren from Melbourne, Australia.
Now is the time to live the life of your dreams and do the work you feel most called to do in the world.
Welcome to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Here's your host, Cliff Ravenscraft.
That's right, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. So delighted to have you here. It is such an honor to have the privilege to speak into a microphone each and every week and know that there are a few thousand people in this world who really care what it is that I have to share from my heart. Now, in this week's episode, I'm going to give you a little bit more of a behind the scenes, well, not necessarily behind the scenes, or maybe a little bit behind the scenes, but anyway, a little bit more of a personal update because, well, quite frankly, I've been working a great deal on something that is so important to me personally, and not only important to me personally, but knowing that what I've been working on is what I was literally put on this earth to do. Absolutely no doubt whatsoever in my mind that I am doing the work that I was created for. I know that what I've been working on is important to so many people's lives. And quite frankly, before the last, let's just say 7 to 10 days, I didn't quite know just how vital what I do is to the lives of other people. I had a hint. I've had the experience of hearing some feedback from people more frequently than I would probably give myself credit for. But I'm one of those guys, and I know that some of you deal with this as well because I've been doing a lot of mentoring sessions with folks. I just had a call with a friend of mine who said, "Cliff, you know, I'm really struggling to grow my coaching business." And well, tell me what you're doing to grow your coaching business. He said, "Well, I'm not doing much to grow my coaching business." Man, one of the things that I had committed to a long time ago is that I was going to do, I think he said something like 4 to 6, what do you call those, discovery calls per week, reaching out to people, prospects for his coaching. And he says, man, if I've done 4 to 6 of them this year, that might be a stretch. And I'm like, why aren't you doing that? And he says, well, I just struggle to really believe in the value that I offer to people. And I said, tell me somebody that you've worked with. Have you ever landed a successful coaching client? Have you ever successfully got paid to coach? Or is this just some pipe dream of yours? He goes, well, no, I've worked with people. So tell me the last person you worked with. And this person proceeded to tell me who the client was, what their circumstances were prior to hiring him as a coach. And then I said, okay, and how did you land that client? What did you offer to them? What was your value proposition? And he said, I really believe that I can help you hold yourself accountable to the things that you say you're going to do. I think I can get you to take action where otherwise you've stressed that you can't hardly ever get yourself to do the things you know you ought to do and stuff like that. And I said, well, how did you make a proposal to this person? And he said, yeah, I did. And I said, and how long did they work with you? And I said, well, she worked with me for 3 months because that's what I proposed in my proposal. And I said, excellent. And I said, tell me the results. Well, she actually ended up accomplishing more. In fact, I remember the words she said. The words she said to me were specifically, man, I've accomplished more in these 3 months than I have in the past 3 years towards the progress towards my dreams and taking action. And not only that, but she was able to do things that generated income. And so as a result, and I sit there, I said, so you're telling me that as a result of your coaching, this person told you that they took action that they would have never done. They were struggling to do all the time. Yeah. And this person is thanking you that, man, they've accomplished more in 3 months of working with you. I said, where do you struggle to see the value in the coaching that you offer? He goes, well, and I'm like, I know exactly what you're thinking there. And I said, here's one of the things that I think you ought to do. And I talked to this friend for about an hour on the phone. And I said, I think you ought to go through and get some of those testimonials, because he told me about some other testimonials. I pulled some other testimonials out. He goes, you want to know something, Cliff? And I said, yeah, I want to know a lot. I want to know anything you're willing to share with me. He says, well, I'm going to tell you something. I happen to have 3 testimonials, like video testimonials from clients that are, they quite frankly, they make me cringe when I hear the words. And I'm like, what? Why? I said, why do they make you cringe? It's like, I don't know. It just seems like, and I sit there, and by the way, I hope you don't mind that I just share with you my heart and how I feel about this stuff. And I sit there, I said to this individual, I said, you know what? You need to stop cringing, because I happen to know this person was a man of faith like myself. And I said, you know, I want you to understand, you need to understand the value of who you are as a human being. You know, I can sense that you're struggling with just your identity and who you were created to be by God. And in a way, what's happening, it's almost as though, in my feeling, this is the way that I see it. It's kind of like God's been trying to speak to you about who you are and the value you bring to people. And one of the ways that he's done that is by inspiring and motivating and prompting some of the clients that have worked with you in the past. He's been trying to communicate to you, and I may be wrong. I can't speak for God, but this is the way I'm viewing it. This is the way that I see it, is that you've stepped into something. There's obviously some natural gifting, some natural talent. There's something about your voice that these clients were drawn to work with you. Now, whatever you did to attract them, whatever God did to prepare them to hear your proposal, whatever the case may be, God allowed these people to come across your path, and they responded to your voice, your proposal. They decided to work with you, and then God says, yes, finally, these people are stepping out and taking action and pursuing the lives for which I created them to live. And they hired you to help them do the things that they were struggling to do on their own. And I'm like, man, do you not see how God was using you to help them achieve more and more of the life for which they were designed to live, for which they were created, to add value to more people? And then God wants to let you know, hey, you're on the right path. You're doing the right work. And so what does he do? He prompts inside of them the desire to create for you an amazing testimonial with lavished, great, praising words of affirmation. And here you are cringing. And in a way, I want you to go back and I want you to dig those testimonials out of the archives. And I want you to string them together, one right after another, and just export it as a single MP3 file. And I want you to just listen to that at least once every day. But here's the thing. You may hear the words that your prior clients had shared. You may hear their voice. But I want you to, instead of thinking about that this message of these praiseworthy things about the work that you've done for them are coming from the clients themselves, I want you to think about the words that they're sharing, those words that have made you cringe. I want you to think about those words in those testimonials as being the words from God to you to clearly help you understand what your identity in this world is. And I happen to also know from talking to this person that the work that he spends a majority of his time doing throughout the week, quite frankly, is not living the life for which he's created. And it certainly is not going to generate the amount of profit that coaching work had done in the past. But this is something that I've seen with so many people who have this dream to build their online business or their coaching business or to do work that they strongly feel called to do, but they step out in faith. They take some bold actions. They get a little bit of excitement and a little bit of confidence, and they make some of those discovery calls or those prospecting calls, or they do some marketing, and by golly, they muster up enough confidence to do a little bit of an example of how they can help people, and then they make a proposal, and gosh, you just do that enough, and a couple of people out of the few that you reach out to say, yes, I'd love to work with you, and then they have great success. They leave you amazing testimonials, and then all of a sudden, what happens to so many people? They shrink back. They shrink back because it's uncomfortable. It seems too good to be true. This is a fluke. If I get used to this, then what happens if it all disappears? Has this ever happened to you? Well, if you've ever decided to pursue a dream and saw some significant progress towards that dream, and all of a sudden you start feeling amazing as a result of that progress, I know for a fact that the next logical step in the progression towards the typical person's journey towards pursuing their dream is to shrink back, to feel unworthy of it, to feel uncertain that this could ever continue beyond this. This must have just been a fluke. I don't know that I have it in me to continue to be able to pull off these kind of results. And you know how I know that? Because it's been a part of my own journey. It's been from the day I left my career in insurance, gosh, back in 2007 to where I am today. I've experienced this one transition after another transition after another transition. Now, thankfully, each time I've transitioned successfully from my comfort zone and stepped into even more and more of the life for which God has called me to live. It's become more of a part of my journey to listen and not cringe at the words that people speak when they praise me for the work that they do. It's so natural for us to deflect the praise from others. It's all, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do that. You did all of the work. I am just a faithful servant. And you know what? That's true. But you should not deflect the words of affirmation that come from folks. You should not turn away from these people that I believe are communicating to you, I believe, spirit-led messages from God to you about who you truly are and the path that you are on. And I work with so many people in this area. And the reason why I bring all this up is it's funny because I'm sitting there having this mentoring session with this gentleman. And I sit there, I said, "Do you want to hear something crazy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll hear anything you want to tell me, Cliff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard that before." I said, the crazy thing is that, I've got some testimonials. I've been working on marketing Free the Dream, and man, I'm making some amazing progress. But man, one of the things that's been on my to-do list ever since Free the Dream last year, I've got all of these testimonials, and I haven't done much with them. And then, of course, I told him, I said, listen, the funny thing is it just so happens that there were 3 people that worked with me with my Day with Cliff package. And this is like almost a year ago. And I have these 3 people who paid like many, many, many thousands of dollars to work with me. And they gave me the most amazing testimonials. And I turned them into testimonials for a sales page, but I haven't really done much with them. I said the interesting thing though is right before coming out for this walk and having this call with you tonight, I actually published the most recent episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, which, by the way, was last week's episode, which I think was episode number 602, titled "The Journey of a True Fan." And I sit there and I said, and he says, "Cliff, right before we had our call tonight, I was right in the middle of that episode." I said, "Well, you're going to laugh because you said that you've been cringing and you've been putting off using these 3 testimonials, right?" Well, I just recently told the story of the journey of a true fan, this man named Stephen Faust that just recently spent an entire day with me here in my Next Level studio. He goes, yeah, I'm in the middle of that story. I said, yeah, but the thing is at the end of it, I play the testimonial that Stephen created for me. And the funny thing is I felt prompted to finally go back and pull out those other 3 testimonials that I really never did much with. And they're all strung together at the end of the episode. And all of that was recorded, edited, produced, published, all of that before we had our call tonight when you told me you were struggling about your 3 previously recorded testimonials that you never used. And it's so funny. And it's like, and then that got me to thinking after I did last week's episode, which if you listened to episode 602 last week, you probably heard, hopefully you heard, although you listened to the end, you heard the 4 testimonials of the 4 people who have paid a lot of money to have a full 8-hour mentoring day with me here in my home studio in Northern Kentucky in the Next Level studio. And so I played those 4 testimonials, and then I had this conversation with this gentleman, and then this past week, I'm like, I need to dig out some of those testimonials. I need to get really strategic. I know I'm making great progress one-on-one in the marketing that I'm doing for Free the Dream, but I want to actually do something with Facebook ads. I spent a lot of time paying people to coach me and teach me how to use Facebook ads last year to market Free the Dream. And I want to apply some of that knowledge. I know my friend Mark Mason said he'd offer to jump on and help me out with any small issues that I had. And so I'm like, I need to pull out some testimonials and create some ad material for the Free the Dream conference and put out, by golly, some Facebook ads. And so that's what I've been working on over this past week. I've been doing a little bit of mixture between aggressively following up one-on-one individually with probably, I'd say there are about 250 people who are on my prospecting list for Free the Dream. These are 250 individuals that I personally intend to one-on-one reach out to in a relational way. Because for me, I believe the most effective way for me to market any of the products or services that I do is through a relationship. I'm not really looking just to close a sale. In fact, when somebody buys something from me, it's not the close of a sale. It's the opening of a new, amazing relationship. And of course, anybody who attended Free the Dream 2018 will be able to tell you that that's absolutely been the case, because they bought their ticket to Free the Dream, and once they purchased their ticket, that wasn't the final thing they heard from me. They had plenty of opportunities in a Facebook community called the Free the Dream family. They were invited to Zoom calls, community calls, where I did open hot seats and just reaching out, getting to find out where these people are in their progress of living out the dreams that they said that they were going to pursue at Free the Dream 2018. I've been in relationship, building those relationships without any expectation that those people will buy a ticket and come back to Free the Dream 2019 and beyond. It's just like, that was just the opening of a relationship for me. And by golly, if Free the Dream 2019 is something that they would desire, then yeah, I would love to have them come back. But again, whenever I close a sale, it's about the open of a relationship. Whenever you close a sale, it's an opportunity for the beginning, the opening, the start of an amazing relationship. A lifelong relationship is what I intend for as many people as possible. And it's why I've been content to have a smaller audience. You know, when I made the transition, many of you may not know this. I've been sharing this with several of my mastermind groups recently. I've shared this with a lot of my workshop participants, my mentoring clients. I share this quite openly, but the reality is that many of you have been around since my old podcast Answer Man days. And what you may not know is that from the transition from podcast Answer Man, this podcast being the first, what was it, 500 or 485 episodes or 405, I don't know how many episodes, but hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the first episodes of this podcast. This was the Podcast Answer Man podcast, where every episode was all about highly actionable strategic advice and technical advice related to taking your podcast to the next level. Well, over time, back in early 2016, I started to experience an identity crisis. I'm like, man, this has been an amazing thing. I would never have been able to get to where I am today had it not been for the Podcast Answer Man brand. But I felt very clear in my heart. Now, it took me a long time to discern this, probably about 18 months of really wrestling with this. But after about 18 months of wrestling with it, it was clear as day. I drew a line in the sand and I'm like, man, what got me to where I am today is not what's going to get me to where God has prepared for me next. And then even once I drew the line in the sand, it took quite a bit of time for me to make the transition, because quite frankly, I would step out into some things. I did some coaching calls. I sat there, I said, hey guys, I haven't been doing one-on-one mentoring for years or coaching for years. But I'm going to test the water of a couple things. As you know, I've been trying I've been thinking about transitioning from Podcast Answer Man to more life coaching, business mentoring, helping people really just achieve their dreams and to go after this and break free from limiting beliefs that are keeping them from living the lives for which they were created, to actually taking actions in their life, to changing their behaviors for lasting change, right? So this is what I want to do. And I just remember back in 2016, I said, listen, I'm going to offer 15 people can hire me one-on-one for mentoring. It's $500 for a 1-hour session, and it's available to the first 15 people who reach out to me. And over the course of 2 weeks, I did 15 1-hour mentoring calls. And by the way, those mentoring calls, I said, listen, you can hire me for $500 an hour, but which is a discount on what I was charging for mentoring before when I did do some coaching. But I said the thing is though, is we will not talk about podcasting. It has to be something about, it has to be life coaching or business mentoring. If you want to ask me advice about business, my experience in business, how to be more profitable, how to be more successful in the pursuits that you do, dealing with some of the mindset issues and beliefs that are hanging you up, keeping you in this repeat pattern of procrastination and self-sabotage. Or maybe you want to talk to me about your fitness and health, whatever the case may be. But I did 15 of those 1-hour calls. And you know what? They were all awesome. Matter of fact, gosh, there are people who I did those sessions with that have lost over 100 pounds. There are people who I did those initial 15 sessions with. One of them has a book and she's just retired and she's living the life of her dreams. It's insane what just out of those 1-hour calls, what's happened. And it's amazing how I took that step forward, and even myself, I kind of shrunk back, and I didn't offer those for several more months. It's been a part of my process, my journey as well. But then I'm like, I continue to move forward. I continue to progress. And I would listen to the things that people are telling me. People are checking in and say, Cliff, man, if it wasn't for that hour conversation we had, I would have never taken these steps. And those steps are what got me to take this action here, and this action produced these results. And today it's because of you that I was able to achieve this. And this is major things. Not to mention the fact that, by the way, some of the things that I did as a result of shutting down Podcast Answer Man, launching these business workshops, these next level workshops for building an online business, and I let's just put it this way. I will tell you that a number of people have told me that their marriages have been saved. Some people have told me that their physical health has been radically impacted, and one person had told me that their son has a parent in their life where, quite frankly, had it not been for one of the next level workshops that I had, that wouldn't be the case. that this one individual made the decision not to take their life because of the hope that they received from a 1.5 day workshop here in the Next Level studio. And, the thing is I have so many testimonials, so much praise, so much encouragement. And do you know what I'm tempted to do? I'm tempted to just look at that and say thank you. I've learned, by the way, I've definitely learned to accept a compliment. I don't think I ever deflect a compliment any longer. But do you know what I still sometimes do? I hear those. I feel really great for about 25, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour to 90 minutes. I might forward it to my friend Mark Mason or Ray Edwards or maybe the entire Green Room Mastermind. I might share it with my wife and I get all excited about it. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm living my dream and I'm having this impact in the world and I feel so awesome. Wow, life is so grand. It's so great. And the next thing you know is that the next day, I forget all about those things. And of course, what happens is you send out an email to market something and you get an email or you look at your things. And the first thing that I still do this today. Why do I do this? I send out, I look at ConvertKit and I look at my most recent broadcast message. And I look at the results, and why is it that my eyes are drawn? It's like, man, there's so much valuable insight in the past 2 marketing message that I sent for Free the Dream. There's Free the Dream 2019 pricing, and I sent it out to 4,476 exact ideal customers on my mailing list for that. And the first result I look at, I go straight to the right, and I look at the 13 unsubscribers. Why do I do that? I've already conditioned my mind. I have a completely different way of thinking about unsubscribers, but still I'm tempted to say, oh, that's 13 people that don't like me. That's 13 people who have chosen to say, I'm annoyed by Cliff's email. Heaven forbid I forget about the thousands of people who opened the email. Heaven forbid I look at the number of people who have clicked and read the sales page. Heaven forbid I look at my Hotjar heat map results and see how many people are spending 3, 7, 12, 15, 17 minutes each on the sales page trying to make a decision for themselves. And so sometimes we just get so drawn and we're so hyper focused on the negatives that it's like we fail to hear, I believe, the messages, the words from God, these affirmations from people who say, man, thank you so much for that podcast episode you put out. It really was a divine moment for me. I felt as though from what you shared in your podcast, it's exactly what I needed to hear to break me free from a cycle of self-sabotage. I am so thankful for the consistent, ongoing, weekly encouragement that you put into your podcast, Cliff. Why can't I bathe in the words of affirmation, and why is it that it's so easy to bathe in the statistics of the number of people who unsubscribe from an email list, or the 1 or 2 negative comments that come from somebody who just doesn't resonate with who you are. They don't believe in you. They have some really messed up beliefs about what your motives in this world are. And some of their negative words, why do we sometimes choose to bathe in that dirty water? That's not the life for which God created us to live. But for some reason, it's like, man, you know what? I think sometimes it goes to some of those beliefs that we were taught. It's greater to be humble. You don't want to be pride because pride comes before the fall. and you know what? It's good to focus on those negative things because those are humbling. They really bring you down. They shrink down your ego, and that's a good thing. And you can feel better about yourself. Feeling so great about yourself and feeling so excited and pumping your chest like, I am so awesome. I love what I do. Dude, too much of that is just pure ego. And that, dude, oh man, and nobody's going to want to be around you when you have that much. Seriously, get over yourself, Cliff. And what? Seriously, do you guys ever experience this? By the way, if any of this sounds familiar to you and it's part of your journey, it's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing today. It's why I gave up the absolute financial certainty that came with the podcast coaching and consulting business. And can I tell you that the transition from the podcast answer man to the mindset answer man has not been an easy transition? Now, by the way, has it worked extremely well? Yes. Has it been the most fulfilling transition that I've ever done? Even more fulfilling than leaving my career in insurance and pursuing my own online business for the first 10 years that I did at podcast coaching and consulting? Yes, this past 2 years has been way more fulfilling than any work I've ever done ever before, all of my years of life combined. It has been that fulfilling. Now, with that being said, the crazy thing is there have been some challenging times financially. But the crazy thing is that the most difficult, the most challenging financial stress that I've had is well beyond my wildest expectations 10 years ago. Like for me, if my business is making, let's just say $13,000 per month, that is an extremely stressful financial situation. All right. 13th. It's like, oh my gosh, only 13th. And I remember, I think it was 2010. My goal was to get my business income from $5,000 to $7,000 a month to a minimum of $10,000 every single month. And now if I don't hit 20,000, I experience massive, immediate, unbearable pain in my innermost being. And so it's like, and it's not like we can't live on less, but the reality is that, man, this is, there's just so much. And there have been times when I'm like, why am I doing Free the Dream conference? I mean, Free the Dream every year it's a minimum of $60,000 a year expense. And every year I have to market this thing, and to market Free the Dream, quite frankly, is a challenge. I'm not great at it. Last year was my first go around, and boy, I had a goal of 300. I had 87 people there. Now, let me tell you what happened when those 87 people were there. Wow. The testimonials that I've got more testimonials than I could. If I worked 80 hours a week for the next 3 weeks, I wouldn't be able to sufficiently make use of all the testimonials that I have. I've been working. I haven't done an 80-hour a week in a long time. Man. But I have been working several 40 to 45, maybe even 50-hour weeks the past 2 or 3 weeks marketing Free the Dream. And let me just tell you, I'm super excited where things are right now. Let me just tell you authentically, transparently, where things are with Free the Dream 2019. Some exciting numbers here. Now, I will tell you just very much, I know for a fact Free the Dream 2019 is going to cost us a minimum of $60,000. So here, and by the way, Free the Dream is happening no matter what. So if the only people who were coming to Free the Dream are the people who signed up now, and not a single person, not one other person signs up for Free the Dream, here's what I will tell you. The event will cost us a minimum of $60,000. And so I know for a fact that I've committed, I will pay $60,000 for Free the Dream 2019 to happen. Now, here's the interesting thing. So far, as of this very moment in time, Thursday, June 20th, 8:21 p.m., I've sold $33,968 in tickets. All right? So we're just over halfway to profitability for Free the Dream 2019. And with the number of people that I personally have relationship with, the people that I am convinced that absolutely need to be at Free the Dream, that I believe that God desires for them. And I don't say these words lightly. I'm not making these words up. I'm telling you, if I didn't honestly believe that God really desires for at least 300 of the people in my community to be at Free the Dream, I promise you this, I would not be hosting Free the Dream 2019 again this year. I wouldn't. All right. So I'm absolutely convinced that there are several hundred people who still need to sign up. But here's the thing. So far, 62 people are coming to Free the Dream conference. 62 people as of this very moment in time will be in Franklin, Tennessee. Now, the thing is, I am going to not rest. I will choose not to rest. I am going to work as much as God will give me the energy to work, to do everything and anything within my power to get a minimum of 300 people to come to Free the Dream this year. All right? That is, if you are hearing my voice and you feel if there's anything in the content that I speak and communicate in this podcast, or through my email newsletter, or through any of the videos on my YouTube channel, or any other thing that I've ever done, if I've ever spoken words of encouragement and what I've shared has awoken something within you, I really believe that you need to be at Free the Dream 2019 this year. And I will do whatever it takes to make it possible for you to attend Free the Dream. And if you have not yet purchased your ticket, please email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. In the subject line, my reason for not signing up yet. And then lay it on the line. And I promise you, we'll find a way. And if it's money, I can teach you how to do something within, let's just put it this way. No matter who you are right now, I have at least I have at least one idea that within 7 days could generate all the money you need to pay for your ticket, to pay for your travel, to pay for your hotel. Email me. I will tell you the way. All right. So, but here's the thing. I am so convinced of this. And why? Why am I working so hard? By the way, marketing Free the Dream is something that I feel like I responsibly I have to do just to make sure that I break even on it at least. Okay. But the thing is I've quite frankly, I've had a couple 13K months, and my minimum, really what's necessary for my wife and I to live the lifestyle that we feel called to live, to be able to contribute in the world the way that we want to contribute, to be able to afford to do things for our children, such as putting money towards their college. We have one daughter who's in college. We got another one that's not too far away. We've got a son who just graduated high school, starting his business, and we want to help contribute to so many of his efforts. But not just in our own family, but man, there are so many other things that we want to be able to do for specific people in our lives, specific outreaches. There are so many things that, quite frankly, we've had to cut back on because, well, it's like, okay, I need to set aside a percentage of my time for marketing Free the Dream. I also need to spend a percentage of my time market a couple more of those Day with Cliff packages, maybe a couple more mentoring packages with people for 3 or 6 months, or maybe I need to market another building an online business workshop, or there's all kinds of things. There's no shortage of individual things that I could do to generate lots of income. The thing is where am I putting all my time, effort, and energy? And so far, I've been putting it all in Free the Dream, and I feel like it's been the right thing. And part of me thinks, well, gosh, man, that's put. Can our family squeak by on 13 to 17K per month as far as business income? And the answer to that question is, yeah, we can squeak by. with the assumption that, man, I'm definitely going to crush it with Free the Dream. And Free the Dream isn't just going to be profitable. It's not just going to be break even. It's going to be profitable, and it's going to fill in the gap for some of those missing months. Now, the thing is I made that assumption last year, and we know what happens when you assume, and certainly what happens when you assume happened to me last year. I got such a huge hole because Free the Dream wasn't profitable last year. Free the Dream ended up bringing in about $60,000 in sales last year, and Free the Dream last year ended up costing us $66,000 in sales, and I had a deficit on my monthly income leading into that. And, thankfully, I was able to do a lot of things that got us out of that hole, and man, praise God, I'm in it. I've got a business, and I've got relationships, and I've got a gift and a talent that doesn't require that I fall back into my old guaranteed, secure, certain podcasting A to Z course. Because you know what? I'm going to be even more authentic with you. I'm going to tell you right now. I was very tempted at the beginning of June to create a self-study podcasting A to Z course. In fact, I told a couple people in my inner circle that I was probably going to do that. And I really considered it. And you know what happened? A week into June, it was right around the time I was about ready to start, I started to get a bunch of emails in my inbox about my Rodecaster Pro that I was talking about. And as a result of that, it got a lot of people to ask me a lot of technical questions. They were asking me specific things. And all of a sudden, I was answering all those questions. That's because that's who I am. It's what I do. You ask me a quick question, and sure enough, I go and research the exact model of interfaces and all this other stuff. And next thing you know, I'm spending about 2 or 3 hours answering things for free for people in my community. And I'm getting back to the place where it's like, man, if I had the self-study podcasting A to Z course, I'm just going to be invited. I'm going to get back to where I'm spending a couple hours a week answering these technical questions. And I just felt in my spirit, Cliff, don't go back. Listen to those testimonials. Listen to what I have communicated to you about what happened at Free the Dream last year. You need to go back to that time after Free the Dream where you were literally crying on camera. And you know what? I'm just now thinking to do this at this very moment in time. I'm actually going to look this up because I haven't looked at this video since. And I'm feeling prompted right now to go back into my archives to the video that I created right after Free the Dream 2018. It's like just 1 day or 2 days after I got back from Franklin, Tennessee. And it was the most embarrassing video I've ever put. It's like, here I am, a grown man crying on camera, and I'm actually switching my microphone on my computer over to this Rodecaster Pro, and this is from vlog episode number 213 on YouTube. I don't know how much of this is I'm going to play. And I don't know if it'll come out in my audio in the audio version of this, but I just want you to know I'm literally crying. I'm bawling like a baby at the open of this video. But here's and I feel like right now I feel God saying, Cliff, go back and listen to how you felt after you forgot what happened at Free the Dream last year. How could you even think about going back to podcast coaching and consulting and relying on that source of income? And I know, it's a responsible thing to do. It's a great source of income. You could hire somebody else to answer all those questions. I know I've been there all, but man, I'm telling you, I feel led right now to go back and listen to these words. It's Tuesday. I've been home for a couple days now from Free the Dream, the very first ever Free the Dream. And I've wanted to record a vlog every single day since, it first started. But I haven't been able to because I don't know how to put into words what happened this past weekend. It was bigger than anything that I could have ever imagined.
And there's no words to describe it. And I don't even know if I'm the one to describe it. I really don't. Part of me feels like if I were to try to explain what took place this past weekend, I would just be trying to sell tickets to the next event, you know? But I don't know. All I know is that what just happened in Franklin, Tennessee is bigger than me. It's bigger than Stephanie. It's bigger than anything we've ever done before. And it's confirmation. What took place in Franklin, Tennessee, it's confirmation that this was the right step for us. It's just the beginning. And I wish you were there. I really do. I knew marketing this event. I told people, I said, listen, if you come, I really do. I believe this will be life transformational. And I could only know what I was talking about because of the experience, the life transformation that happened in my own heart, in my own soul, when I learned the principles that I taught at this event. When I learned these events, or these principles, at Unleash the Power Within in June of 2016, when Stephanie and I went to Tony Robbins' event and heard so much of that information, and Stephanie and I, it was a spiritual experience. It was a spiritual awakening. Stephanie and I both walked away from Unleash the Power Within thinking we were made for much more than this. You know, when it comes to the life that we were living, we both knew we were created for much more than this. And we both knew that we wanted to be able to create our version of that experience for people. And so I knew the content that I was bringing. I knew that the speakers that I was bringing to Free the Dream, I knew that anyone who stepped through the doors of this event, their lives would be changed forever. But I had no idea it would be what happened. Part of me wishes I could wait to tell you about this until I have all the professional video footage. I mean, we hired an incredible video production team. And they're going to work over the next several days, maybe even weeks. I don't know how long it takes to get that kind of stuff back. But they're going to be working to create something that will hopefully help you capture at least some essence or see some essence of what happened there. But I don't know that even a video, I don't even know if a video put together by the most amazing production team could really communicate what took place this past weekend. I was watching, we created a Facebook group that's closed and only available to people who attend Free the Dream Conference. And first, what's happening in that following this event is blowing my mind. But my friend Peter Adal was one of the very first people who went live inside of the Facebook group. And I just want to share with you something that he shared.
For those who remember, my name is Peter Adal. I traveled down from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We literally drove 17 hours down to Free the Dream. And the people with me are Sarah Werner and Ron Gibson. And so now we get the pleasure, or we are having the pleasure, if you will, of driving back, of digesting all of the material that you just took tons of notes on, and hearing everybody's thoughts. And now you understand things in a new way because of how they maybe understood it. There's something powerful with that. So I know yesterday was Sunday, and my heart was, as I shared on my Instagram stories, my heart was full starting that day, and I don't know if there was a dry eye at all that entire morning. And if I will, that was some of the most beautiful church I've been a part of, maybe ever, at least in a very long time.
That was the most beautiful church I've ever been a part of, maybe ever. Yeah, me too. And a lot of people said the same. It was, by the way, this Free the Dream is not meant to be a Christian conference, but you guys know that I'm a person of faith. I attract similar, like-minded people for the most part, and I don't have the words. This is probably one of the craziest vlogs I've ever published. I have no words. There's only one word that can summarize my overall feelings and emotions and thoughts. Just it's one word, 3 letters. Awe. I am in awe of what happened this weekend. Now, don't get me wrong. I will come up with lots of words over the next several days, weeks, months, and even years ahead. But for now, this one will have to do. I'm in awe of what took place in Franklin, Tennessee.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. By the way, that's the first 7 minutes of vlog episode number 213. That video is 15 minutes long. My friends, I'm so glad I watched that. It is absolutely confirmation. Cliff, don't. Oh, man. If you guys ever see me launch a podcasting self-study course, don't buy it. Did I just say that? That's crazy. Who knows? I may still create one day. I hope I never do. I really do. I hope I never have to. I hope that Free the Dream has 500 people there this year, because I never want to go back to the podcasting stuff. I know I could make $500,000 next year if I just launch that course. I don't want to. I don't want the questions in my inbox related to podcasting. I don't want to help. I don't want people to ask me, Cliff, how can I get the next 10,000 subscribers? How do I get to the ranking? And my artwork's missing. What cable do I don't want it. This is what I'm supposed to do. The mindset answer man, helping people break free from their limiting beliefs that are keeping them from doing the work that God put them on this planet to do. My friends, have you done work that is fulfilling and meaningful, and you've had a significant amount of impact in somebody else's life, and then they speak words of praise and affirmation to you, and it's like, oh my gosh, I must be doing something right. This is exactly what God wants me to do. But then you find yourself self-sabotaging, and if you go back and listen to those same affirming testimonial words, you start cringing. Does that ever happen to you? Do you ever self-sabotage and go back and say, let me just go back to the old way of normal living and thinking? Don't do it. The next time somebody speaks those words of affirmation to you, or go back and look up those emails that they've sent, those comments that they've posted, those testimonials that they've given you, and don't hear them as being from the person who sent them. Just see those people as a messenger who are speaking what God is trying to communicate to you. I have something more for you to offer this world. And I'm enough. You're enough. We're going to get this thing done together. And if you need help freeing that dream inside of you, or you don't even know what that dream is, come to Free the Dream. What I've been doing over this past week is I have spent more than 20 hours over the last 2.5 days just listening through testimonials. I have testimonials from all 87 people who were at Free the Dream. And what you're about, matter of fact, you're going to hear 1 or 2 people more than once in the testimonial montage I'm going to share with you. But that's just because several people recorded different testimonials for different video people. Like my friend Ling from France recorded a bunch of video testimonials. My video production crew recorded some testimonials. I had some people say, Cliff, can I record one for you right now on your phone? So I've got testimonials from multiple people. Several of the 87 gave me multiple testimonials. So you might hear like Sarah Ray Warner more than once. but they're different testimonials. They're different words that they're speaking. And I want you to listen to this in two different ways. I want you to potentially listen to the next 8 minutes twice. First time, I want you to hear what God is communicating to me personally. I want you I don't want you to think about what these people are saying, and I don't want you to think that these are words from, Colin Yearwood and Leslie Samuel and Mark Mason and Chrissy Meyer and all the other people you're about ready to hear. Forget the first time through. I want you to hear different people speaking the words that God prompted them to give to me, because God's saying, Cliff, I want you to understand that this is what I made you for. And then I encourage you to back it up, go all the way back 8 minutes prior, and then I want you to listen to hear if any of those words resonate with you. And if anything in this episode has touched you in any way, shape, or form, come to Free the Dream. FreeTheDreamConference.com. Get your ticket today. And if you're not going to get your ticket today, email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com, and tell me why. I will do anything within my power to help you get your dream, to make it come true. And I promise you this, if you buy a ticket to Free the Dream, I will not be closing a sale. My friend, you and I will be entering in and opening up a lifelong relationship.
I have followed Cliff's content for a while now, and when I heard that he was going to put on Free the Dream Conference, I really wanted to come. I am leaving today inspired, encouraged to do the things that God has created me to do in this world.
I've had a lot of dreams over the years, and this conference has really helped me uncover those. Some of them are deep, and some of them made me cry. Every single day got better and better, and I feel more and more inspired, and I laughed more, and I got more relaxed, and I got more comfortable with the fact that I even have dreams.
Couldn't have come at a better time, because I've a lot of limiting beliefs that Cliff's talks have helped me kind of work through, and realize that I can be as successful as my brain will allow me to be. And Free the Dream has allowed me to kind of break down some of those barriers that I didn't even realize I had.
It's just been so encouraging to be in a environment where other people have been experiencing the same exact thing, and it's been such a relief.
I know already what I need to do when it comes to marketing, but there's other things that were stopping me from actually executing on that. I'm building the business that I wanted to online. So what I've gotten from this event is how I can reprogram how I think to take the actions that I desire and I want.
Why don't we have that abundant life? An abundance of money will not cure a poverty of soul.
So if you have a dream, that's there for a reason. It's on the inside of you. You need to come to Free the Dream 2019 and just have that pulled out of you. And if you already know what it is, it's just going to help it grow and multiply.
Okay, hey Cliff, Dirk Robbins and Tamara Robbins here. Just want to say thank you so much for this conference. Tamara is the one who turned me on to your podcast, and I've loved listening to you. And it's the total God thing. I'm here at the right moment. It's a divine moment, and I've been really getting a lot of direction as to which way to go. And I want to just thank you so much for all you've done and helping me through this journey of figuring out what I want to do next in my life. So thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Cliff. Changing mindsets, changing hearts. May God just totally bless you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Although I had pretty high expectations for what happened in Franklin, my expectations were exceeded by an amount that I'm really not prepared to describe. I really still don't exactly know what to say about what happened there, except to say that when Stephanie and I were sitting in the back of the room with Dan Miller, I leaned over to Dan and I said, "This is the beginning of something amazing. The very beginning And Dan agreed. My favorite thing was when the video production team started telling you about how the conference was impacting them. I wasn't prepared for the grown men crying things that happened there. It's just.
I was at the conference and it was life transformative. It was really a tremendous experience. I already bought my ticket for next year. Cliff, I mean, you put on, you always say that you try to over deliver, and I mean, it was really, you truly did that. I mean, it was just great to have a much stronger connection, and I really made a lot of friends there, which I don't normally do. This is a surprise, guys. I'm not the most outgoing guy on the face of the earth, but it was such a warm and open atmosphere that I really had a tremendous time meeting everyone there. So just a tremendous weekend.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ray Werner, and I was excited to be a part of the Free the Dream conference here in 2018 in Franklin, Tennessee. My first time to Tennessee. It's a beautiful place. Even more beautiful are all the people that I've met here at this conference and the messages that Cliff and his cohort, if that's the right word, have shared with us. I'm getting so much out of this conference. I had no idea what to expect coming in, and it has just been absolutely life-changing. We're only halfway through it right now, and already I am just so ready to go out and just explode into amazingness. So come on down to the conference. It's a great time. You'll meet amazing people. It's just yes.
I'm Christine Mullen. Thank you for hosting this because it has been the best thing for me and for our relationship.
It's been great to be part of this and really everything that you're teaching. I really appreciate all you do. Love you, man.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to attend this event. Thank you for your heart and the men and women that you have attracted to come to this event and how they have edified and encouraged me personally.
Cliff, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. This has been an incredible weekend so far. It has opened our eyes, and now you have filled in the gaps to help me figure out where to go for my next step.
I was very fortunate that Teresa and I could come together because it's really revealed to me how much I have to learn and that the journey is possible, and it's going to be a fun ride along the way.
Hi Cliff, this is Sarah Ray Werner, and I just wanted to thank you for putting on this fantastic event, and I am just blown away by every single speaker. You are doing good things for so many people. You are changing so many lives. I'm just so excited to be a part of this, so thank you.
Hi Cliff, it's Christy from Long Island, and I want to thank you for hosting Free the Dream. I've gotten value out of every moment here, and there's still more value to come. And the lessons that you've taught us, the amazing speakers that have filled in the gap, I know that in a year when I come back here, my life is going to be so much better.
Hi Cliff, Joe McGarry here, and I just want to thank you for an amazing event. It's really had a significant impact on my life already, and I just want to let you know that, from the work I was doing last night in the workbook, that I am excited for this next year, and I am dedicating myself, and I want to let you know that when I come to Free the Dream 2019, I'm going to be 100 pounds less than I am today. That is my commitment. This is really projecting me to the next level, and I want to thank you for that.
I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of conferences through the years, and this one is unique. And I really feel like at 57, the Lord's bringing some things out of me that are becoming alive. And so thank you for what you've poured into my life up close and from a distance. And thank you also for the big change that you're making in the world and so many other people's lives.
Hey Cliff, I want to thank you so much for putting this event on, and not just putting it on, but having me as a speaker and as the MC of the event. What I know is that this was life-changing, not just for the attendees, but also for us that were able to be a part of it. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You know I love you, and I'm looking forward to seeing where Free the Dream goes, and I can't wait to see that huge stadium that's filled with all of these people that are going to be freeing their dreams.
Come to Free the Dream. freethedreamconference.com. Get your ticket today. And if you're not going to get your ticket today, email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com, and tell me why. I will do anything within my power to help you get your dream, to make it come true. And I promise you this, if you buy a ticket to Free the Dream, I will not be closing a sale. My friend, you and I will be entering in and opening up a lifelong relationship.
Mindset Answer Man.